boys and girls, Miss Luick here. So the W letter is a consonant and it makes the W sound. So our alpha friend is Willy Worm and our letter is W for wagon or W for walrus.
I've got these worms from Teresa's Pets. These are called night crawlers. They're nice and big so you can see all their body parts. So these are living creatures. When you do this experiment, you need to handle them gently. And get some of the dirt off so you can see it. And the first thing that we would do is to investigate the worm with a magnifying glass. And when you use a magnifying glass, you want to hold it up to your eye and then come down into it so it's nice and clear. And you can check them out like that. And we're going to be doing some experiments with our worms.
All right, so Mrs. Beltran and I picked out our worms. How's yours doing?
Moving very well. Look at
Mine
him.
is active too. Should we look under the
Magnifying glass, so we put it to our eye. Ooh.
Okay, so our test is, does our worm like the wet half of the paper towel or the dry half? What do you think, Mrs. Beltran? What do you think it'll like?
You know, we've done this a few times, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, some they do like the wet, some they like the dry. So I'm thinking this guy, because he's moving so much, will probably like the wets. What about you?
I think so too, because if you think about a worm, they live down in the ground, maybe like a garden, maybe sort of moist dirt. Should we find out?
Yes,
All right,
let's find
do
out.
it. Okay,
All right.
half and half.
Half and half. Half on the wet and half on the dry. All right, let's see what he does. I have dirt everywhere.
Well, I think our experiment proves that worms like moist.
Yes, wet better than dry.
So our experiment will be to see if worms prefer the light or the dark. So here we go. I'm gonna grab a little wormy. Here, you can take this one. Come on, take it, Miss Luick! Come on! I'm sorry. That's hilarious. If you don't like worms. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to take our little tent and we're going to put it over the worm and see which it prefers, the light or the dark. Okay, I think that we've shown that they prefer to be in the dark.
I agree.
So our last experiment with the live worms is rough or smooth. So we have a piece of sandpaper and then the smooth table. I'm gonna see if I can get a new worm in here who hasn't had his debut yet. There we go. We'll get a good one too. Whoa!
Gosh, he's moving.
I think I'll just let him. Oh.
All right, let's see.
Did yours like the smooth?
Yeah, if it could run, I would have said it ran off the paper. But this guy's adventurous.
Oh, there goes mine. Yep, it did not like that rough sandpaper.
Hi boys and girls, I'm going to tell you about the parts of a worm. So if you look really close at a worm, you'll see little tiny lines all the way down its body, and those are called segments. And every worm has a little, kind of like a fatter piece of skin around it. That's called the saddle. And once you find the saddle, whatever side is closer to that saddle is the head. So this is the head end of the worm, and this is the tail end of the worm. Do you see the saddle on your worm, Mrs. Beltran?
I think I do. Is it a little bit different in color?
Yeah, it's a little
Oh, there it is.
lighter or darker shade.
Haha. So that must be his head, because that one's closer. And his tail is here.
Yeah. And some fun facts about worms is they can lose their tail and grow it back, but not their head. They have 2 layers of muscles, one that goes up and down the body and then one that goes around. So that's why they're able to move like slinkies, and it helps them get through the dirt. Another fun fact is they don't have lungs. Worms breathe through their skin, and they have 5 hearts. So those are some fun facts about worms.
So, boys and girls, if you would like to do these experiments at home, here's what you need. Some worms. You can dig them out of your garden, or you can go to Teresa's Pets and get some. You'll need some black construction paper folded in half long ways. For the tunnel, you'll need a piece of sandpaper, some paper towel that you get half wet, and a magnifying glass. Have fun.
All right, so our next activity with our worms is we each have a gummy worm. We still have our real worms, and we'll do a little comparison of each. Okay, ladies, we're finishing this sentence. A real worm is. So I'll go ahead and start. A real worm is squishy. A gummy worm is sticky.
A real worm is wiggly. A gummy worm doesn't move.
A real worm is alive. A gummy worm is not alive.
A real worm is brown. A gummy worm is colorful.
And a real worm is dirty. And a gummy worm is clean.
Okay, last thing. A real worm eats
Dirt!
A gummy worm gets